few words on reporting. We all lead busy lives, and it is easy to forget to report. After all, we help the beneficiary. Isn't that the point of being a counselor? Well, yes, it is. However, in order to keep this program going, it is essential to report all the fabulous work that's being done. We need this to keep our program going. MAP is dependent on dollars from the state and federal government. It is important for them to see how many people we serve and how many hours we spent doing this very important work. So, please remember to record your client encounters in ShipTools. Our mantra is, if you didn't document it, it didn't happen. And best practice is to report it within a week. If you need a hard copy form to make your documentation easier, please contact your site coordinator. They have a few different ones that might be able to help you out. So why do we need to report quickly? Waiting too long to report can cause you to forget the specifics of an encounter. Waiting too long can reflect poorly on our program, as AAA 1B's MAP program accounts for 25% of the state's Medicare population. If our numbers are low, it brings down the entire state. Therefore, it's essential to document all your client contacts, both your formal ones, for example, a scheduled appointment, and your informal ones. For example, talking to your hairdresser about Medicare while you're at the shop. Waiting too long to report may cause you to lose your certification if you are short on hours by the end of March. MAP Inc. has stated that there will be few exceptions granted for volunteers that didn't meet their hours. If you don't put your data in timely, we are unable to assess how we are able to help you to remain certified. Please remember to refer back to ShipTools periodically to make sure any client contact marked incomplete is completed. All client contacts require a note. It doesn't have to be anything lengthy, but just something that is more than simply clicking the boxes. And if a note isn't included for fraud and abuse, we get no credit towards meeting our goals in this area. It is a separate funding stream for us, so again, those numbers are very important. For clarification on some documentation issues, any time you spend researching on behalf of a client should be included as time spent on the client contact form. And before you add any information on a client that is new to you, please search all. This is at the top of the screen. There's a drop down and all is at the very top. This client may be in our system already. Then you can just add a new contact for that person and it keeps all of their information together. The ShipTools Activity tab. Remember to use this tab if you do any research that is not directly related to counseling a client. For example, if there is a particular issue for Medicare that you are curious about, and do some research in this area. Also, remember to use this tab if you don't include your travel time to a counseling site in your time with a particular client. For example, if you go to a site to counsel multiple clients, you would include your travel time to and from the location on the Activity tab. You also use this tab if you watch a webinar that is not from AAA 1B's MAP program or MAP Inc. Be sure to include a note at the top of the page when you use this tab and click on Professional Development to indicate what you did. The notes are at the top of the page and then you write, for example, watched a webinar from CMS on fraud. And as always, if you're in a group setting or watch a webinar on your own, please let your site coordinator know so that you can get appropriate credit. PAM forms. They are used for outreach activities. A form should be completed anytime you do an outreach event, including presentations, health fairs, staffing tables, etc. Your travel time and preparation for these events should be included on the PAM form, and the form should be sent to your site coordinator upon completion. Fuse. If you use Fuse, Remember to close out a client if the client is assigned to you. Once you assign a client to yourself, you must document your encounter in ShipTools. Put a brief note in Fuse, but most of the documentation should be in ShipTools. Fuse is really a tool to help get the client calls out to volunteers. It does not require any major documentation. Also remember, clients need to be called 3 times before we close them out on Fuse. We should call clients at different times of the day. We should also make sure that the last call is a week or so after the first in case the client is out of town or in the hospital. We don't want to close them out if they're still needing our help, but we couldn't reach them promptly. And as always, a super thank you to all of our volunteers. You are wonderful. Our program could not run without you, and we are very grateful for all the work that you do.